Welcome everybody. My name is Tom, and I'll be talking to you today about unlocking the power of spatial media. So, a bit about me. I'm a creative developer by trade turned technical director. Father of 3 little girls. I live in Zwolle and I work at a social tech agency Go Spooky. It's an Amsterdam-based company. And today we'll be talking about these 5 topics. So, a bit about social AR at Go Spooky, a bit about the social platforms that we use. I'm going to dive deep into something I call the social sandbox, how that, and then I'll take you a bit behind the scenes on a few projects that we did recently, and we'll end with a bit of what's next in terms of social AR. So Go Spooky. Company of about 100 people based in Amsterdam, but we also recently opened an office in New York. We're hiring, so look at our website if you are looking for a job. We're a company with a global mindset, and to give you a bit of an introduction, I'll show you a bit of a show reel that we recently made. So as you can see, we are an advertising agency, but we focus on new tech to spread the messages that we want to tell. A bit about the technology that we use as developers in-house. A lot of gaming platforms, but also web AR and the 3 main social AR platforms, Metaspark, Lens Studio, and Effect House. I'm going to tell you a bit about those platforms. So what we call the social AR landscape is mainly these 3 social platforms and development platforms. It's Effect House for TikTok, it's Metaspark for Meta, and it's Lens Studio for Snap. And although these platforms serve different, these software environments serve different platforms, they all kind of do the same thing. So a quick run through the interface. They all look very much alike. A bit of a game engine combined with a code editor. If you want to dive into them yourself, they're all free to download, so look them up on the internet. In terms of distribution, Effect House again is for TikTok. Metaspark, you can create AR effects for Instagram, Facebook, and Messenger, and soon to be Quest and WhatsApp. And Lens Studio from Snap is capable of making effects for Snapchat and for the web via Camera Kit. And in-app as well. The cool thing about this is that for us, it's commoditizing the smart camera and real-time effects. And for some old developers here, or not so old maybe, you see the flash sign. For me, there's an analogy here where flash back in the day was really a sort of a lowering of a threshold to get creative developers into interactive development and game development. And at Go Spooky, we feel that these tools, Effect House, Spark, Studio, and Lens Studio, do the same for AR. So we have our big tech companies selling us on the spatial computing future. I believe that these social tools already help us sort of get all the creatives onboarded in and get their feet wet into what can be next. So to tell a bit about what makes this social AR sandbox so interesting, I have 7 topics that I wanted to quickly highlight. One is the team that we have, and that I think gives the most success when developing for social AR. You need diversity. Diversity in background, diversity in viewpoints. AR is so new, and designing for AR is so new that the more you can bring knowledge you can bring for other fields, the better it is. And at Go Spooky, we combine a lot of fields together to make cool social AR content. So we have people with an architecture background, we have people with gaming background, people with art background, video background. And they all bring their special talent to the table. Because the design paradigms of AR are so diverse. There's a lot of tech coming together. You need to see that reflected in your team. The next one, it's all on you. So social AR, it's a camera. It's a camera app, and your phone has 2 cameras, front and back. Both can be used, but it's an interesting dynamic that no other medium has. It's sort of, we sometimes describe it as you don't own all the pixels. There's the real world to take into account, and the user is free to point their phone at anything, even on themselves. And as a developer, that's also true. So while you're developing for AR, you often see yourself being the canvas on which your development is projected. And that's an interesting thing to take into account, that it's, usually we also say, we build the props, the user provides the stage, and together we create the show. Then social AR is also very much the place to go to see what's cutting edge in terms of real-time AR. We have these headsets, we all know them, but actually that technology is usually found first in social AR. So we have real-time scene segmentation, world meshing, and a whole lot of different other technologies that are available to develop with when using these tools. And it's really a big play box with advanced technology that's ready to be combined and works real time on most mobile phones. Because AR is so new, explaining your idea to people that either pay the bills or want to fit it into their campaign is quite hard, because they don't have a frame of reference. So prototyping the thing you make is key. So start early and start prototyping quickly to have something visual to show, and to let others see what you mean actually with the idea that you have in mind. Then social AR can really drive AR literacy, right? Again, we're sort of stumbling towards this spatial computing future with ups and downs, but the tech is already here now, and the social platforms have millions, maybe even billions of users, and getting AR effects and applications to them right now can help them sort of get ready for the spatial future. So it's little mechanics that you can test: hand tracking, body tracking, world meshing, in small experience to get them ready for what's next, and also as a developer, be ready for what's next. The interesting thing that we find is nothing comes natural in AR. So we give a lot of hints during our experiences. There's a lot of on-screen prompting that sometimes feels like in the way of the user, but it's actually needed for a seamless experience. If we take away the hints, even a seasoned user of AR gets lost. So there's a lot of UX and UI ground to cover still, but social AR is paving the way. Then access and adoption. Because these development platforms are tied into these big social networks, you have a distribution channel of billions already. So you can easily build an effect and then push it to be discovered by a whole lot of people. It has beginner features to get moving, but there's also a depth to these software packages that you can call pro features. Most run on JavaScript, but a lot of tech art and game developers will feel right at home because it has a lot of similarities with Unity and Unreal Engine. And then finally, it's really a gateway drug to spatial computing. So we've been developing social AR for about 7 years now, starting from image markers and simple face effects to actually world meshing effects and bigger games. And the learnings that we have, they directly translate to what we're now doing on Quest and on Vision Pro. So all that knowledge and all those designers and developers that have started their career and their exploration on social AR, they now almost like with little barrier go into like hands-free headset development. Although, of course, the install base is low. It's not in a network of billions yet. But when we eventually get there, we have a whole suite of designers and developers ready to go. Next, I want to show you some of the work that we recently did. This was a project for Nike. It was a basketball tournament in New York. And the idea was to make an AR effect where you could jump higher than you normally would. So to show off your super abilities, if you will. So start with showing you the end effect. So this was the end result. Now I'm going to quickly go through a bit of the steps that go into making this. So we start always with a storyboard. Our designers make this. Then we go into prototyping, which is always really fun. And again, it's all on you. So as an AR developer, you often see yourself doing weird things in front of a camera. In this case, a lot of steps go into making this jump effect. So we have to segment the user from the background, do a 3D body tracking on them. And this is all running real time on a mobile phone. And this is all combined. So we slow down time and make you jump higher than possible. Some in-office testing to make sure that it works on all distances. Also, this ties into the prototyping. This is also what we show internally and to clients to sort of already get them invested in that we are actually pulling the idea off, and it's not just from storyboard to final result in a single step that usually gets a client very anxious. And final result, testing in the office. Really cool effect. This takes about 3 to 4 weeks of development in our studio. Then another one. This was for Jeep. The idea will be explained in the video. Again, we start with the results.
Frictionless experience that happens on Snap allows you to kind of jump into and understand that vehicle that you see right before your eyes.
And that was quite a challenge. So to make one model that recognizes all these different Jeep models was a challenge, but we did it, and we never did it before.
So that's the end result. How we got there was quite interesting because it necessitated us doing our own machine learning exploration. This was made for Snapchat, and Snapchat offers the integration of custom ML models. So we went for a 3D pose model. I think we used PoseNet. And for that to work on Jeeps, we had to train and generate a lot of data, and then train the model to recognize the grills. So we did it with synthetic data fully. We used 18 high configurable 3D car models, and eventually generated 50,000 different images with different car colors and different backdrops. We used Blender for it, so it's an automated Blender pipeline. Of course, rigging or like preparing these models to be color changeable and stuff takes a bit of time, but after that it's a push of the button and it's you get a lot of images. And then there's some testing. Cool thing with cars is you can test with model cars, it works the same way. And then this was the final test at a Jeep dealer around the corner from my home, seeing if it actually worked, and it did. So this is one of the sort of higher end features that you can build for social AR lens, leveraging really high end like content and techniques, and roll that out to millions of people almost instantly. Really powerful. So of course we explored this technique further. Tried it on a Coke can, tried it with chairs, tried it with a Lego car. It all gives us a lot of opportunities to explore further. So a bit about the social sandbox, indeed, a bit about the networks, and a look into what we have developed recently, but what's next for social AR. A few thoughts here. For us, or for me, I see social AR as a stopgap. So we've seen the launch of the Vision Pro from Apple. We've seen the Quest 3. They're all very interesting, but they're also they have their limits. But they give us a sense of what's coming. Social AR is already here now on almost everybody's mobile phone if you use social media, and can be seen as a stopgap. So we can sort of already develop a lot of ideas and techniques here, and until we see the maturation of the technology for headsets. There's also a limit to this because the mobile phone as an AR device is limited. It's not, your peripheral vision is very much still there. You're looking through this really tiny box, and all those points of friction will make sure that that sort of this is not the end state of AR. This is just a middle gap of plotting AR technology on the current hardware that we have today. What we also see is that AR has been around for quite a while with the HoloLens and the Magic Leap. A lot of experimentation has already been done, but there wasn't really an audience for it. So a lot of ideas have been explored, have been built, have been shared, but they weren't used by anybody. And now with social AR maturing and Quest and Vision Pro looking for content, we see a lot of old ideas popping up again that now get a new audience. And that's interesting. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel sometimes. We can just look at older content and reuse and improve it, because now the audience is getting there. That said, from all the content that's out there, the tech is still leading. With that I mean that AR content, VR content, is approached from a technical angle, mostly. So what can be done technically, instead of what does the user want, or what is actually interesting to experience from a user perspective. And that's wrong, or at least that will stifle adoption, because it's just a tech demo or a gimmick. And that's something we need to solve. And I think the more creative people we get into this industry, the better and the sooner we will solve this. And social AR is adding to that sort of ecosystem of creative developers that have a low barrier of entry into spatial computing in this way. So hopefully we will see the fruits of that pretty soon. And then, last but not least, it's the age of the spatial developer. That's something that's been, it's something to focus on. If you're a developer and you're into this, this is the time to jump in. Because with the newfound attention of Apple and Meta into this space, more and more companies and brands will look for developers and designers that know how to use these techniques and know how to build stuff with this. And there's a scarcity right now. There's just not enough specialized developers and designers that know the UX, know the UI, know the rules of this game. And if you now jump in early, you have a pretty good career path in front of you. And that's super interesting. So with that, I want to close and thank you all for listening to my talk.